I went from growing up on a council estate, if you're watching from the US, you would call that the projects, to earning multiple £40,000 months within the space of 2 years. And I want to show you exactly what I did so you can follow the system, so you can see amazing results like I did. Because I wasn't the most intelligent. I grew up in poverty. Every single one of my family members was on benefits. They was receiving money from the government. So poverty was normalized around me. No one had a job, no one worked, and there was never enough money to go around. Now, what I've learned from becoming top 1% of Bob Proctor's consultants and the material that I teach has absolutely changed my life. In fact, the only reason that I became a mindset mentor is because of the impact that this material had on my life and my income. And I wanted to share that with other people like yourself. Now, what I did, well, there was a few things that I did. Okay. I came across a man on YouTube called Bob Proctor at about 20 years old. I'm now 29, so 9 years ago, right? And I was fascinated by what Bob was talking about, how your thoughts become things, how to change your paradigm, change your subconscious mind. And Bob also introduced me to this book, which is a fantastic book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So I started reading this type of material and it really intrigued me because it was talking about abundance, how there's an unlimited amount of money, there's an unlimited amount of success. You can do anything. We have infinite potential. And I'd never heard anyone speak like that, right? My dad was my biggest role model growing up. I love my dad to death, but my dad was always in and out of prison. So I grew up visiting my dad in prison. So I didn't really have a role model in terms of the legitimate way how to become successful because no one around me was successful. So when I started reading Think and Grow Rich, listening to Bob Proctor, I started to think bigger. But for many, many years, my results still didn't change. Okay. So I came across this material at 20, and it wasn't until 26 that I really started to see the results from it. Now, the reason I started to see the results is because I was very frustrated because I knew all of this information. I knew about affirmations, visualizations, writing your goal down and all that type of good stuff, but my results weren't changing. And I wasn't bothered about the information, the material affirmations. I just wanted to have more money. I wanted a better way of life, not just for me, but for my family. I've got two young children as well. And I wasn't in a position to even take my daughter on holiday, let alone do anything else. So you can see why I was frustrated and I also wanted better results. I don't know, maybe you've got children, maybe you can relate to the situation that I was in. So I knew something was missing because I'd been reading this information and it just wasn't working for me, right? So I decided, or I thought, that I needed help. I needed someone that had the results that I wanted. I needed a system. I needed something. I didn't exactly know what it is that I needed, but I knew that I needed help because it wasn't working for me. So I went onto Bob Proctor's website and I put in my details and I arranged a call with one of his team, and the guy was called Cam. And I was speaking to Cam, and Cam basically asked me what my goal was. And my goal at the time was just to earn more money. So he asked me, well, what's the most you've ever earned in a year? Now, up to that point, the most I had ever earned in a year was £15,000. It might have even got as high as £18,000. But when you've got rent, you've got bills, you've got two children, £18,000 isn't even a lot of money, even if you've only got yourself to look after, never mind a family, right? So he said, how much would you want to earn? And I said, you know what? I'd be really happy with £25,000 in a year. And Cam turned around to me and he said, well, that's not really a good goal. You already know how to earn 15,000. Why don't you focus on turning your yearly income into a monthly income, right? And when he said that, I kind of knew this information, so I knew it was possible. But I didn't believe that. Like, how does someone turn their yearly income into a monthly income? I mean, that's ridiculous. It's not logical, right? And he's talking about doing it over the next 6 months. And I'm thinking that is crazy, but I'm willing to listen and do what you tell me to do because clearly my way isn't working. That's something along the line that I've learned. If my way isn't working, maybe go and try someone else's that has got the results that you want. So he told me about this mentorship and he told me the investment, and I believe it was something like $10,000, right? Bear in mind, like I just said, I was earning £15,000 a year. So that was about 8 months of my money out of what I was earning a year. So I said, look, I'd love to do it, but I don't have the money. Like, how am I supposed to afford $10,000 when I just don't have the money, right? So he said, well, you don't need the money. What you need to do is make a decision. He said, when you make a decision, you find the resources every single time. So you've got to make a committed decision, and then the universe starts to work in your favor. Now, I invested a little bit in cryptocurrency at the time. So I believe I had like 1,800, maybe £2,000 in there. So when I came off the phone, I thought, well, I can withdraw that money, but where am I going to get the rest of the money from? Right? I spoke to Cam. He talked about a payment plan, and he said, you can make a down payment and then pay it off in monthly installments or something like that. So I said, let's do it. Bearing in mind, I didn't know how I was going to pay the next monthly installment. I wasn't earning that much money. So I decided to bet on myself because I thought, well, the biggest risk is me keep doing what I'm doing, keep getting the results that I'm getting, and keep just being frustrated with my life. So come on, Joel, take a bet on yourself. Listen to him and do exactly what he tells you to do. So I joined the program, and it was about reprogramming, your subconscious mind, changing your thought processes, changing your actions. And once I started going through the program, one of the first things they got me to do is write down on a goal card, I'm so happy and grateful now that I've turned my yearly income into a monthly income. And they explained to me, look, write it down. You're not going to believe it, but you're going to keep reading it. Then you're going to start to believe it. And then once you believe it, you're going to start to see it happen in your life. Now, I was in the modeling industry, so I'd never done sales. I'd never built a business. I didn't know anything about that. But I started thinking about earning money. And I had this voice come into my head. Why don't you go and build an online fitness company that operates all around the world? Now, bearing in mind, I knew nothing about fitness in terms of all the details like calories and nutritions and how the body works. I am in pretty good shape myself, but I didn't know how to get other people in shape. But that's one thing that they taught me on the mentorship is you don't need to know how. The how is what stops most people. If you knew how to do it, then you would have already done it. The exciting part is going through the proven process and finding out how you're going to achieve it. Okay. 5.5 months into that program, I had an online fitness company. I was just helping people get in shape online. I never done it in person. And the business was generating £18,000 a month. And I was so shocked at the results. So here I am, taking my family took my daughter to Disneyland, took my daughter and my son to Dubai. And I was just so amazed at this life I was living. Little Joel from a council estate who had nothing going for him, looked like he was going to end up on the streets his whole life or in prison, is now a legit businessman that can't stop money coming to him. Like money just kept coming to me, coming to me, coming to me. And I knew it was through this program that I was going through. More importantly, it weren't just through the program. I changed my vibration. I changed the image that I held of myself. I started to realize what I was really capable of, my true potential. So when I was in Dubai, I made a decision that I wanted to help people experience what I experienced with my life. So I started thinking, is there any way that I could work with Bob and teach this material? And there was. I could become a consultant. I'd have to go through training, become certified, learn how to facilitate the program to ensure my clients know how to follow it. So I said, boom, I'm doing it. And that was about 18 months ago, if that. And there's probably 4,000 Bob Proctor consultants worldwide. And I have got myself into the top 1% of Bob Proctor's consultants. And I earn lots of money while helping lots of people as well. And it's been absolutely fantastic. Now, what I did though, is I made a decision. And I learned how to make decisions not based off my current circumstances. Because if I would have made a decision to join that mentorship based off my present income, I mean, I wouldn't have joined it. A $10,000 mentorship and I'm earning £15,000 a year. I had to make a decision based off where I wanted to be. And I knew that I needed help. I needed guidance. I needed to learn how to implement all of this powerful information that I had in my mind. So I made a decision. Now, to make a decision, you don't need the money, you don't need the time, you don't need the resources. The only question that you've got to ask yourself to make a decision is, do you want to? And if the answer is yes, you've got to go ahead and make the decision and start right now where you are with whatever you've got. You cannot let your present results, your circumstances, dictate your thinking and the decisions that you make. So when I want something now, when I want to go on an exotic holiday, when I want to buy myself a new watch or a new car, I don't ask myself if I can afford it. I ask myself, do I want it? And then I make a decision. And when you make a decision, you tune into that higher frequency and you attract all the resources, all the circumstances, and the people needed to align with that decision. But it's got to be a committed decision. What do most people do? I want to get help. I want to invest in a mentor, but I don't have the money or I don't have the time. Or I want to, set up that business or build a new home for me and my family. But what if it doesn't work? Anything that you put at the but is the circumstance. You cannot let circumstances dictate the decisions that you're going to make. The biggest chapter in Think and Grow Rich is on decision making. And it's a very powerful chapter. It says accurate analysis of over 25,000 men and women who had experienced failure disclosed the fact that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. Napoleon Hill says this is no mere statement of a theory, it is a fact. Procrastination, which is the opposite of decision, is a common enemy which practically every person must conquer. That's the opposite of decision, procrastination. I'll do it later when the time's right. What you've got to realize is that's your mind, your paradigm, your subconscious mind trying to talk you out of it and procrastinate because it likes the comfort zone. It doesn't want you to change. Now, listen to this. Analysis of several hundred people who have accumulated fortunes well beyond the $1 million mark disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions quickly and of changing these decisions slowly if and when they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly and of changing these decisions quickly and often. So you've got to ask yourself and be honest with yourself, do I make decisions slowly and then change them straight away? Or do I make fast decisions and stick with it? Napoleon Hill, no one has studied successful people for as long and as in depth as Napoleon Hill did. And he says the people that fail to accumulate money never reach decisions. So you've got to become a decision maker. And the only prerequisite to making a decision is, do you want to do it? Stop letting the outside control the inside and start getting your inside to control the outside. That is the biggest lesson that I have learned in the past 2 years that has took me from the bottom of bottoms to the highest of highs. I'm now happy. I've attracted an incredible relationship with an incredible woman. I've got an incredible relationship with my children. I've got a thriving business. I attract money with ease. I do what I love. I'm healthy. I'm in the best shape of my life. And do you know what it is? It's all because I made a decision. I made a decision. No, I am not going to settle for a mediocre life when I know that there is an abundance of everything that I have ever wanted waiting for me to make a decision and really go after it. So I would really encourage you, if you want to increase your income, if you want to increase every aspect of your life, to start making decisions and make them fast. And don't let other people make decisions for you. No one knows what's right for you. And if you do try and ask for opinions when you come to make a decision, people are going to project their beliefs onto you. It's your life. You've got to take ownership for it and you've got to make decisions for yourself.